to Evansville Podcast. My name is Jason Burton. Thanks for listening. Today we are talking with the production company Mr. Pictures, producer Josh Reidford and director David McCracken. They joined me to discuss filming their feature Bullitt County here in the area and how people can help out if they're interested. We also talk about how they work as a team when one of them lives in Evansville and the other one lives in LA. So we talk about what tools they use to make it a little easier and how that all works. And we also talk a little bit about what Evansville is missing and what they miss about Evansville. Now, today's sponsor is Optimal Rhythms Incorporated. Imagine being stuck in a body that couldn't speak and couldn't move when you wanted to move. Imagine being overlooked or underestimated every day of your life. This is the reality for many children on the autism spectrum. At 8 a.m. this Friday, an area nonprofit organization, Optimal Rhythms, will be kicking off Make a Difference, Speak Only from Your Heart Day. Respected and influential people in our community are being nominated to give up their speaking voice for 24 hours. This will bring awareness to the more than 300 nonverbal youth on the autism spectrum in the southwestern Indiana area. Similar to the MDA lockup, those who are silenced will collect pledges, donations to try and buy their voice back. Once they meet their funding goal, they can start speaking again and even nominate someone else to be silenced for the rest of the 24-hour campaign. Monies raised will purchase iPads, apps, and communication training for area children and families. If you'd like to help make a difference, text SILENCED to 41444. Thanks. Show notes are available at evansvillepodcast.com. So now on to the show. Josh, David.
Yep.
Are you both from Evansville? One of you from Evansville?
We're both from Evansville.
Both from Evansville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to high school together, and then we went to the University of Evansville together, and we've been friends forever.
Yeah. So then now there's some kind of California connection as well, right? Is that you? Okay, David.
Yeah, I went to the University of Southern California for grad school at the Cinematic Arts there, and I live in LA currently. So I moved out there in 2009.
2009. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So LA and Evansville, basically the same place.
Oh yeah, basically.
Yeah. So just maybe LA's a little bit bigger.
There's slightly more traffic. Yeah, just slightly.
Yeah. Is the traffic worth it? I mean,
it depends on the mood, but yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, I love the weather, obviously, but also I always just say that you go to the weather doesn't come to you, so it's kind of on your terms. So if you want to go somewhere chillier, you can just drive there, and vice versa. So yeah, a lot of people like it, so a lot of people are there. Yeah.
So if it wasn't, can't have everything be perfect, or everybody would be living there, right? So you got to have hopefully something
some stopgap. Yeah,
right. Yeah, we have no traffic here, but it's really cold today.
Yeah.
So you guys know each other for a while, and you started a film company. What was the correct term?
It's a production company.
Production company.
Yeah.
Gosh, I knew. I'm like, it's not like a picture deal. Yeah. So so production company, and it's called
Mr. Pictures.
Mr. Pictures, which is a great name.
Thank you.
And that's a combo of your guys,
right? McCracken and Reidford. Yeah. It actually wasn't. Yeah. That wasn't the intent behind it. We just thought it was a cool name, and then
then we were like,
hey, look, it works.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
You can, but never tell it anybody again. It's like we totally.
Everybody who's listening, forget about that.
Yeah, forget about that. That's what we're talking about. I'll take that out for $20. Yeah. So you're here in town to not just to hang out for the cool fall weather, right? But you have a purpose here.
I'll be honest. It's partly why we set the movie in the fall. The movie's called Bullitt County, and it's about 4 friends on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail in 1977. And it's an action thriller. They, while they're on the trail, they discover that there's buried Prohibition money somewhere out in the woods. in Kentucky. And so, you know what happens in movies when a bunch of people find money, there's other people after it, they start fighting each other. And so, yeah, there's a lot of shades of No Country for Old Men and Deliverance and The Shining in it. But yeah, I mean, actually, partially the reason we did set it in the fall is not just the colors of bourbon match autumn colors, but we figured it would be a really nice shooting experience for everybody who's coming out here in the fall.
Yeah, bring some of those California people over here to experience some weather for once.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, and you're still in Evansville then, or you're not in? You said you weren't in LA.
Yeah.
So you got the
Evansville.
short end of the stick.
I guess so.
Maybe
I'm a bit more acclimated to the weather, so I have a one-up on everybody for that.
Yeah, notice he's wearing the jacket and you're not. So
yeah, my knees hate this weather.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned you went to school together. Where was it? You said
We went to Memorial.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how do you get into making movies? I mean, how does that process even work?
I mean, it kind of starts just like for both of us when we were in high school, and maybe even before that. You just grab your parents' camcorder and just make movies.
Right.
I mean, that's really kind of where it started for us. And for David, I mean, he really wanted to make films forever, and when he got into film school, it's just kind of like that sets you on the course for that. Me, I sort of just fell into it. It was not necessarily what I had intended to do, but it was something that I really enjoyed doing, and here I am.
Yeah, it's crazy because I guess it's maybe easier now than it used to be, or maybe not, but I guess it's probably never easy. Well, I'll take that back. But to get into it, because with the internet and everything, you can share things a lot easier. Being far apart, most likely you would have had to both been in the same house,
right?
to do whatever you're doing now, but you guys can share across.
Yeah, with iPhones and Google Drive and anything like that. I mean, we can have production meetings all the time, day and night, and not have to be in the same place. Like we never could have done this 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah. So, are you writing this? You're directing, writing all of it, or did you get a script from someone else, or how does that work?
Yeah, I wrote it.
You wrote it, okay.
And the process behind that was basically Josh and I talking about things that we liked and really developing a story. Like, we know that it takes a lot of time and energy and sucks a lot of life out of you, and so we thought, what elements, what story is worth that? And so actually we had just recently completed the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and the Craft Trail, and he and I both really grew to love bourbon, and just that whole experience of just how it seems to be that the bourbon's incidental to the actual process of making it, and the tradition behind it. It's so outdoorsy. It's a really, really organic process. And we really responded to that. We both love the outdoors. We both love genre films. So one of the things behind Mr. Pictures was that we would do character-driven genre movies, so that it's not just some schlocky, murder film where people just get beheaded and you just see a lot of gore for gore's sake. We actually wanted to have some intent behind whatever we did and have you care for the characters. And so the script came out of really a lot of the stuff Josh and I we kind of put it in a blender, and it went through a lot of iterations, but ultimately we said, we don't want to make this unless it's something that we both really love, because we're going to be putting a lot of time and energy into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've gone to school, had training for this from
USC, from University of Southern California. Yeah, and I'd been writing since I was a kid. Just like on top of school, I just always loved writing, and so you write different things. But then at some point, I discovered what screenplays were and what they looked like, and this was before the final draft program. So I'd actually go into Word, or I think it was Microsoft Works at the time, and you'd actually go through and indent and tab. And I remember when I discovered the tab key, because before that it was just space bars until you get to the character name in the center, and when the tab key, just opened up a whole new world. And then when you find out that there's actually software for this stuff and you can actually write it, so it was definitely a process of you could see that movies are made by a lot of people who care very much about something. It's not something that just comes into your movie theater and then you watch and then it leaves. Like it,
Right.
you know, and so that was like the writing always was kind of the basic part of that, because really, unless you're, you know, Christopher Nolan or something, the only currency you have is the script initially, the script and the people behind it. And if you don't have something that other people can come aboard, then it will just be a script and a couple people who really want to make it but never can.
Right.
So you have to have like a foundation that will, and a core group of people like me and Josh that really believe in it, so that you can attract other people to it.
Okay. So then there's the whole, and I've heard, I mean, I'm not in the industry, so I've just heard, you know, I listen to podcasts. I know everything, right? But like, so producing it seems like that's more just, I need to get a bunch of money somehow. Is that what producing means?
That's a big part of it. Certainly, there's definitely a lot more to it. I mean, some producers, that's all that they do. Right. But I love, like, myself as a producer, I want to be as involved with it as possible. You know, to the point of going out and doing location scouting myself a lot of the time, and making sure that every single, you know, crew and cast member that we bring on board is going to be somebody that is as on board with it as we are, and you know, is not going to turn around and stab us in the back later on. Well. You know, and like working with David on the script from the beginning. So, you know, it's definitely, I myself at least like to be much more of a hands-on producer, because at the end of the day, it's just as much my project as it is David's, and you know, so the more I can be involved, the more I want to be. Yeah, money's a big part too.
Money, everybody needs the money for some. Yeah.
Oftentimes you get a situation where you have some kind of, you know, creative force behind a movie, and then everybody else just has to serve that no matter what. And that does work for some people. It tends to work for really, really exceptional geniuses. And I think, you know, like, but the way that Josh and I work so well is that we both have the logistics side, the practical side, the creative side. So we're always together looking for solutions. We don't just want to dream up stuff that can never actually see the light of day, or anything that we think, well, maybe we can pull that off, and then it turns out that it wasn't pulled off and looks terrible or something. So we're always trying to work within the confines of reality, and really make the movie kind of, I guess, work with that. So like practicality, money, whatever's available to you is not your enemy. You just have to work around it and work with it. And I'd say one of the best examples of that on this movie was, you know, a big thread of it was that the characters would go on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and they'd see a couple distilleries. We'd show how bourbon was made and all that stuff. And we started having a lot of trouble getting some distilleries on board, because they had other, you know, deals with other reality shows or whatever it might be. And so we were just talking about it, and we thought, well, the movie's about them going on the trail 10 years later. So they went on it in 1967, and they loved it, and they had a great time. Now it's 10 years later, and they're trying to relive the past, which you can't do. And that's one of the themes of the movie, is that nostalgia can be your worst enemy. Yeah. And so we started exploring the idea of, well, what if the distilleries that they used to go to are actually now wineries? Like, they all got converted. And so they're just, you know, there's nothing worse to a bourbon person than walking in expecting a distillery, and turns out to be a bunch of, you know, red wine bottles everywhere.
That's funny.
So it ended up being, actually being better and funnier, and worked more with what we were trying to say. So it's a lot of stuff like that. And if you can kind of embrace the practicality and the restrictions of real life and what you can achieve, it actually ends up making a better movie usually.
Yeah, I've heard that, like, the restrictions for creative people actually help them, because you have to find solutions, I guess, whereas if you had just, I mean, we've seen that with, I guess, I don't know how you feel about the prequels of Star Wars, but like, if you just have, can do whatever you want, then it's a crap product.
Yeah, you just throw a green screen up and have people walk around. Yeah, and that's the big difference. That's what I love about making movies, is because if you're a novelist or anything, you can write anything you want, which is great. But with movies, if you need to see it and actually film it and get a bunch of people to do that, you just have to work around it and work within the confines of reality. And that's what's so fun, is you have to take what is real and make it appear to be not real or cinematic or something larger than life. And I think that's ultimately what the magic of movies is.
Yeah. So are you going to use local people to do any of be in the film or help with the film or anything? Or you guys have your own crew, or how's that work?
Yeah, it's kind of a nice mix. Okay. A lot of our primary cast and crew are all coming from Los Angeles, people that we've worked with off and on before, but we're trying to get as much local people involved as we can. Yeah. There's a number of scenes that we need people to be extras, like some of the scenes at the wineries. We need, to kind of fill the room.
You need people to come and drink wine.
Yeah, we need people to come drink wine.
That's
you would be surprised how hard it is to find people that just want to sit and drink wine and be in a movie.
Wow. Well, I don't know. We can put the word out.
Yeah, if there's any of your listeners that just maybe like that, have them get in touch. But then, and also, we've been trying to work with some of the universities to get students who want to be filmmakers, like we were when we were in college, to come out and work part-time as production assistants. And really anybody that has ever had a dream of like working in a film. I mean, we need all hands on deck, because there's every single day there's so many things that need to be done.
Something.
And we really can't have too many crew people running around like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And it's the more people that are there, the lighter the load is for everybody, and the happier everybody is at the end of the day.
Yeah. And what's nice about it is it's a small enough crew to where you wouldn't get lost in the shuffle even if you're there for a week and you just want to help out in any capacity, because it's a small enough crew where you get to know people, you get to meet them, you get to make connections, and just all around and enjoy it and not feel like a cog in the machine, which can happen on bigger productions.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Now, so you film everything digitally, I would assume?
Yeah, on the Alexa Mini.
Yeah, okay. And so equipment-wise, I mean, is that like your biggest cost, or is it the people?
It's pretty comparable, honestly. Okay. The equipment costs, as far as like non-people stuff, that's definitely the hugest part between the camera package and then the lighting package. It adds up very quickly.
So, I know, just looking at just cheap stuff, I'm like, wow, that's not as cheap.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine for an actual movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta light it. It's a lot of lights.
Yeah, lighting. Turns out lighting's important.
Yeah, gotta see it.
Who knew? Yeah, just for taking crappy videos with my phone. It's like, what is wrong with this? The light.
Yeah,
it's always the light, right?
Yeah, you think, we have to get them away from the window so that the window hits them instead of shooting at the window. Because they're silhouetted. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff.
All that. Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of locations. If we liked them a lot, we would have to change the whole scene setup to accommodate it, because for instance, we'll be shooting in Yellow Tavern in New Harmony, and they have these big windows in the front, and the way I originally wrote the scene was it was set up a lot differently, but because we loved that location so much, we had to adjust it based off of that giant window, because we couldn't shoot against it, because then you just see a bunch of black blobs against brightness.
Artistic decision.
Right, that's what it was.
Oh gosh,
check didn't clear.
Right. So what is the hardest part about making movies, I guess?
Ooh, that's a really tough one.
Answering those kind of questions.
Yeah. I mean, it really. I don't know that there's a single most difficult thing about me. I guess if you clumped it all together, the single most difficult thing is just trying to keep up with everything as it comes in, and being able to roll with the punches. I mean, if you're not adaptable and good at just like going with whatever happens, then movie making would be impossible. Because like everything is kind of tough at some point in time during the process. And there'll be days when like 3 things will just go so right, and then you turn around an hour later, like something goes amazingly wrong.
Oh, you're describing yesterday.
Oh yeah,
and the day before that. And probably today. This is the good part of today.
This is the good part? Oh,
you're getting it out early, yeah.
Great.
But yeah, it is. I mean, there's not a single part that is the best part of filmmaking, and there's not a single part that's the worst part. It's just kind of, you just have to take it all in stride.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of kinds of fear involved in it because, a lot of people think of it as, oh, you're putting yourself out there creatively and you're vulnerable. I think that's whatever, but you want to make a good product and you want people to be entertained, and if every little decision that you make adds to that or detracts from that. And so it's hard to give everything equal weight while at the same time trying to prioritize and say, okay, look, we need to feed everybody first before we can ever roll cameras.
Yeah.
But, so like it's a constant struggle between prioritization and honestly, different kinds of fear. Like, is this movie are we going to finish it? Are we going to be able to finish it in the way that we want to? Is, this department going to be able to pull off this particular scene? Because there's a lot of elements, all those kinds of things you're constantly worried about. And like Josh said, trying to roll with the punches if that doesn't happen. And, it's rare that it always consistently works out. And so it's a constant, like, and he and I both experienced this, like when we started on it, like I was saying earlier, when you just are writing a script and dreaming it up and talking about what if, at a certain point, the team starts growing and you realize, oh yeah, we're actually doing this and people are flying in and we're, like this is happening soon. Like we were talking yesterday that we're going to have cut footage of the film in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty wild. Yeah.
That is crazy. It's just, when you put stuff out there and the people that actually were going to participate, it's like, what? Okay, I guess we're doing this.
Oh, yeah, it's not just us anymore.
Right, so maybe just for my own curiosity, I don't know if this is a more nerdery question, but like when you edit it, what are you using for that? What kind of tools do you use for?
We're using Max and we're using Avid. Which is generally the industry standard. The way that we're doing this particular movie is we're actually cutting it as we shoot it, which is a whole logistical issue because we are shooting for a month here and then everybody's leaving. So a lot of films, or at least nowadays, I think my stomach just growled.
In that weird California hungry time where it's like, this is breakfast time.
Wait a minute.
What's going on here?
So the way this particular movie is that the mine's still going. Look at that. It's like, don't tell them about the editing process.
Like clearly the editing process is off the record.
Bored. It's like, come on, move along, man. But the long and short of it is a lot of movies can do pickups and can, like, after they're done with the shoot, they bring everybody back and it costs an ungodly amount of money and you can fill in the gaps once you've cut together the movie and you say, oh, we need close up or we need this and that. But for this, we're not doing that. We can't do that. Mm-hmm. So the plan was to have the editors cut it as we go. So we actually have an editor in San Francisco up at Pixar, and then we have another one in LA, and then we have our assistant editor here. So twice a day, the assistant editor gets the footage that we're shooting off God knows where in the woods or something, and he's getting it delivered to him, and then he's ingesting it and doing all the technical stuff and then uploading it to them. So they're getting it that same day.
Which is another example. It's amazing. I mean, that you'd have to get those people here and you'd never be able to,
Yeah, and so it's been a whole thing, like, logistically trying to figure that out because, like you said, normally the process would be you make the movie, you cut the movie, you do this. It was very linear, and now you can kind of do everything at once. We've got the sound guy already on board, and as soon as he has some picture to work with, he can start doing sound on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more malleable, which is really fun because then all the departments can kind of discuss it and actually have a say in the matter instead of, oh, well, the picture's locked, I guess I'll do what I can to make it good. Like, now you can actually have conversation.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. So yeah, interesting. Avid. So like the Pro Tools stuff, because I think a lot of the podcasts, NPR podcast people like to use that. So
Yeah, Pro Tools is what our sound designer will use.
Okay.
Yeah, so Avid,
Avid has a bunch of different things like a Adobe Suite or something.
Yeah, Adobe's one type. So you have like Adobe Premiere, Final Cut, and Avid. And Avid's kind of they all have their pros and cons, but Avid tends to be the one that most people use. So it's easier to work with the editors.
Gotcha. It's like with Final Cut, or is it Final Draft?
Final Draft for the
screenwriting. It's like everybody pretty much has to use that because that's what everybody uses. It's one of those things where it's circular where
they used to, and Final Draft would like you to think so, but but now they're buggy. They've got so many bugs in them, and they haven't adapted with the times. And now there's all these programs basically took what Final Draft created 20-something years ago and said, okay, now we can actually change this and make this a lot better and more user-friendly. Okay. And so Final Draft's starting to get left in the dust because all these other programs are cheaper and better than they are. So the thing we actually use, which has been great for this movie, I'm sure everybody's zoning out right now.
This is the part I'm most interested in, so I don't care what about this.
But Josh and I, when we were talking about doing the movie, we were talking about ways that we could keep it going because he was here in Evansville and I was in LA. And one of the ways we did it was this program called Writer Duet, which was, it's a screenwriting program, but it's online based and it's a live document like Google Docs are. Yeah. So I could go in there and say, oh, you thought this scene was kind of crappy. What about this? And then show him something else. And so he could constantly look and give notes and his thoughts and everything. So it was just it was just a cleaner process. Whereas before you'd have to do a final draft document, export it, send it along, and you get lost with which version are we on right now? Right. But the Writer Duets let it be a lot more streamlined.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so he's like deleting words as you're typing them. So
no. He just adds F-bombs all the time.
Like, not using that one.
Or just adding scenes where like David's character just runs naked across the screen.
Right.
He doesn't even know those parts are in the movie.
Wait a minute.
I haven't read it, so what?
I don't read it. Wow. Off that topic.
My nudity?
Yes.
We don't want to talk about that.
We're not going to
anymore?
talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, it was weird that you came here like that, but
I should probably put clothes on.
There's so many things wrong with that. Being in LA and being I assume you traveled over, Josh, you traveled to LA probably a little
pretty frequently,
more frequently than a lot of people here do.
Yeah.
So I always like to ask people what, like, something that's outside of Evansville that you wish we had. So being in LA, maybe you have something really cool that you wish Evansville had. Can't say weather. Okay.
In-N-Out.
Perfect.
In-N-Out.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say amoeba.
Oh, well, that's
In-N-Out's probably wins,
In-N-Out
right?
would be something I would use more regularly,
Yeah.
I think.
I think In-N-Out would destroy Evansville.
It would.
Yeah.
We would I'll be just laying in food comas all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's amoeba? I don't know what this is.
Amoeba is a giant music and DVD. Like, they don't do books, do they?
No, they do books. It's like all entertainment. It's like a giant book broker.
Yeah,
really.
It's amazing. It's like 2 floors. It's as big as a warehouse. And every time I'm out there, I try to hit it up and at least grab a couple LPs to bring back. I mean, it's just amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Actually, yeah, and especially being here and having to revise the script a lot is coffee shops. Honestly, and ones that are open late, ideally. But I
may have some tips for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so late, not late, but like 9 o'clock, which is Evansville late.
Is this
sometimes.
Honeydew?
Honeydew.
I just went there.
Okay.
They're great, and I met the guy.
Zach.
His name's Zach. Yeah, he was great, and
yep.
He said he might be able to help out with the movie, or at least he's
Good.
spiritually supporting it. So he was really excited.
Sounds like Zach.
Yeah, so I told him he'll see me a lot more frequently.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
And we also have River City Coffee Company that just opened up. They're on Main Street in the River City Mercantile, which is like on the 200 block across from the Zuki sushi place.
Oh, yeah, I know where that is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Check
they're
that out
open till 7.
Okay.
7 to 7. And you also have Wired Coffee which is on near the courthouse on 4th Street, and they're open. They're not open late though. They're open till like 1:30 or 2.
Okay.
They're really good too.
All right.
So we have coffee, and then there's Barber Bistro, which is in hair place, over on
because that's what I like with my coffee.
Right, you want
hair.
that hair salon smell whenever you go in. But no, they're over by in the Burlington Coat Factory section of that little area. You know, there's that donut bank, and then there's this like CC's Pizza. There's a Rogers.
Oh, is that where they are?
So in that Rogers hair thing is Barber Bistro.
Oh, yeah. I saw them on Yelp, and it looked really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So those have popped up, and then if you want to go to Newburgh, there's Lucid Coffee, which is really good, and it's in the Refinery, which is in like the downtown old part of Newburgh, and that's worth checking out.
Okay.
And then of course there's Penny Lane. That's on right there down the street, and I think they're open till 6. So
yeah. That's where I've been doing a lot of like morning afternoon work, but yeah, it's
they got the Wi-Fi,
nice.
so
yeah, that's
all these places have their cool stuff. So yeah, we got some it just happened like, well, Penny Lane has been there for a while, but I mean the other places just kind of all happened at once, feels like, which is awesome because it's like we have this interesting burgeoning coffee culture now.
Yeah, it's great because every time I come back into town, I'm always yelping coffee. Where's new coffee?
Well, get the hook up on some coffee here. I would,
that's great
because like Zach's doing a great job over at Honeydew, and they're the one that's opened the latest, I think. So
they are, because they're by UE, and I was talking with him, and he actually said they get their beans roasted at a place in New Harmony, which is where we're shooting a bunch of stuff in the movie. So I think, I mean, it's such a small town, but I think it's just right around the corner from Yellow Tavern or wherever we're shooting.
Yeah,
first.
I've been there. They were showing me the process. It's really cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
So coffee.
We'll make a movie.
It's off the list. You gotta get a new one.
We'll make a movie about coffee next.
Yes.
We'll just make
whatever you can get for free, right? You wanted some bourbon, you make a movie about bourbon, and people have to give you a bunch of bourbon, right?
That's right.
That's really the goal.
I think it's why so many writers write about writers and writing is they're just sitting alone and they're like, what should I write about?
Like, I know about writing.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking in the mirror. I could write about.
Yeah.
I have a glass of bourbon. Maybe I'll write about that.
There you go. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So cool. And then is there something that you like whenever you go to LA that you miss about Evansville?
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, you do miss the weather at certain points, like the fall. You do miss. It's I think in general, like I just miss. I have a lot of nostalgic connections to Evansville, so it's like no matter how long you've been away, you just get homesick sometimes, and you miss. Going to Donut Bank or something like that.
Always wants Donut Bank.
Even though there's a million donut places in LA, they're on every corner, and you're like, yeah, but I really miss Donut, or something like that. Right. So it's I'll be interested to see when our crew rolls in, like what they connect to as just blank slates, because I'm bringing so much nostalgia to it.
I hope it's plenty of awesome restaurants in town now, so especially down here, Haney's Corner.
There's great restaurants down there.
Yeah. Franklin Street's killing it. So
that's what's so fun is coming back home and every time there's something new coming up. It feels like especially in the last year or so, it's really growing.
I think, there's been some kind of cultural shift. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can blame it on those dang millennials, but there's like something's going down now. So it's people, I don't know, they're tired of hearing how crappy Evansville is, and it's like, well, let's just do something about it finally.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, no more Bob Evans. I'm just like, I'm tired of Bob Evans. Want some sauced.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scott Shimmick from Sauced.
All right.
Recent guest. I want a T-shirt.
I want free food.
Free food. Yeah. So let's see. We just go down the list.
Yeah, just
all these places.
Shout outs.
Pangea is doing great things. No, we are digressing rapidly.
I would give shout outs to gas stations. Love gasoline. Love fueling my car.
Yes. Shout out to hotels along the way.
That's right.
But yeah, so you'd mentioned if people are interested in helping out to contact you, what's the best way to contact you guys?
Probably email.
Okay.
You can get in touch with us at it's Bullitt County Film, BULLITT, Bullitt County Film @gmail.com. And we are rarely ever away from our email. I've actually been emailing this whole time.
Me too.
Josh's voice is just a robot. We've pre-programmed, so he can keep emailing.
That's fair.
And we're on social media as well. If you look up Mr. Pictures, MR Pictures, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're on there, and we're updating a lot more frequently now that the movie's rolling along. And it's been a great way for people to reach out, and if they want to be like we were talking about extras, if they want to donate meals or something, or sauce. But yeah, if they want to donate meals, there's just a lot of like ways that locals are helping out. It's it's ways to like bond and hang out with the crew, and they feel more at home. And we really wanted to kind of build like a bridge between the LA film industry and here in Evansville, and create that connection and that bond. So people are donating meals, donating their homes for some people to stay in while we're here, because we're all over the place, and like we said, New Harmony and Huntingburg and stuff. And what were RVs? I think Josh,
if anybody's got an RV that they want to donate for a couple of weeks, because there's a couple out of town shoots that we've got, because a lot of the film takes place in the woods, and so it's logistically it would be awesome if we could just all be chilling in RVs like we're camping out. That would be helpful if anybody's got one.
We just want to be a fleet of RVs. Yeah, that's all we want. Just like
just roll in big with the big
like
convoy
Spaceballs with the wings on them.
Yep. Oh man, that would be awesome. I don't think we have one of those around, but if we do, I definitely want to know about it.
We'll make it happen.
Somebody around here has in Owensboro, I think they have a replica of the Jurassic Park Jeep.
Are you serious?
I saw that. I don't know if it was on a lot or something. Yeah, I saw that at some point, and it freaked me out. I just wanted to take it so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and the Ecto one from Ghostbusters are my two dream cars.
Yeah. Well, there's probably one of those floating around here too.
That's right. We'll find it.
Cool. Well, thanks guys for coming over.
For sure. Thanks so much for having us on.
Thanks to Josh and David for coming on the show, talking to us about Mr. Pictures. Please check out the show notes at evansvillepodcast.com, and make sure to check out some of our other network station shows on the Evansville Podcast Network. Those are available on evansvillepodcast.com. About halfway down the page, you'll find them. Thanks. Good job, everybody.